Did you see that post?
People are talking.
Here's what's trending on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
All right, y'all, the time right now is 27 minutes after the hour, y'all. This week marks 5 years since George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis. His death and others like Breonna Taylor in Louisville sparked a national outrage and has led the Department of Justice to launch investigations into police departments across the country.
Yeah, Ricky, those investigations led to what's called consent decrees, which are court-enforced agreements that require police departments to make serious reforms around the use of force, accountability, and community trust. But just yesterday, the DOJ said they plan to roll some of those back, saying they are too costly and interfere with local control.
Yeah, of course they're going to roll it back. And joining us this morning is one of the most respected voices in civil rights law. My good friend, he's called Black America's Attorney General. Y'all please welcome Attorney Ben Crump.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Ben, what up, man? Thank you, man.
Ricky. Thank you, brother. And thank you so much for covering this very important issue this morning.
And Ben, for folks who might not be familiar, what exactly is a police reform? What is a consent decree? And why does the DOJ now looking to step away from it?
You know, Ricky, that's an important question that our community need to know about more than anybody, because consent decrees really affect our livelihood. That is when the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division finds that there's a pattern in practice of where there's discrimination, where there's police excessive use of force, whether it's denial of federal funds. The Civil Rights Division can sue that city or that state, and instead of going to court, the city can make a decision that we will consent to your findings, and we will make an agreement that we are going to do better. And if not, then we will have to go to court and pay the fines. And so what's so troubling, Rickey Smiley, about this is the federal government did that with the city of Minneapolis after the killing of George Floyd. They did that with the city of Louisville after the killing of Breonna Taylor. They did it with Ferguson after the killing of Michael Brown. They were in the process of doing it with Memphis, Tennessee after the killing of Tyree Nichols. But now with this administration and this Department of Justice headed by Pam Bundy under Donald Trump, they have said, we're just going to back the blue. The hell with the community and the trust that we're trying to build. We just want to make sure the police know that they're absolved of any liability, no matter what they do. And so it is very hurtful. It's not surprising that they were going to do this, but It's still hurtful to Breonna Taylor's mother. It's still so hurtful to George Floyd's family. On the week of Sunday will be the 5th anniversary. Reverend Al and I are going to be down at his grave site with his family and many other supporters talking about what is the legacy of George Floyd. And now we have to deal with this just infuriating decision by Trump and Pam Bondi. But I tell people, let's use that to reinvigorate ourselves in the fight. Everybody gets comfortable. We can never get comfortable. We can never get complacent because they continue to attack us and everything we stand for, Ricky.
So how are they able to do this? What legal grounds is the Justice Department even using to terminate these consent decrees?
You know, so much about this administration is unprecedented. We see with what's going on with immigration. We see how they're attacking HBCU funding, how they are attacking Medicaid and Medicare. So legally, they are doing what I wrote about in my book, Open Season. They're engaging in the legalization of discrimination, and they continue to try, I call it the intellectual justification of discrimination. And what they're doing they are coming up with ways to justify discrimination. So in this instance, what they're trying to say is that the Department of Justice under the Biden administration did not look at all the facts and that they should have considered police perspective more. And so normally this would not be able to stand, but because elections have consequences and that Trump has put so many federal judges on the bench for lifetime appointments, and the fact that he's appointed him 3 Supreme Court justices, then it's likely that even though this would be illegal in any other time, right now, this Supreme Court rubber stamps what Donald Trump and his Department of Justice is doing. So our only thing we can do is make sure that we take back one of the branches of government to be able to check him. 2026 is going to be important if we can have Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House to be denying all these things. But right now, to answer your question, I don't expect the United States Supreme Court to help us get equal justice on this matter.
Hey, Ben, can you can you hold on a second? Could I bring you in on the other side?
Absolutely, Fred.
All right, y'all. More Ben Crump coming up next. Rickey Smiley Morning Show. We got the one and only Ben Crump on with us. Ben, I want to ask you a two-part question. Are we in a constitutional crisis? And what happened when the president or his administration don't abide by a court order, like he got control of the military? It's almost like, what you gonna do? What can you do?
Well, have always been able to overcome the enemies of equality trying to oppress us. And right now, they are being very direct about it. They're not being subjective or implicit. They are letting us know we're attacking everything, diversity, equity, and inclusion that we believe benefit black people, even though it benefits white people more than black people, well, white women especially, attacking black history, black culture, black literature, everything. And Rickey, the constitutional limits are being stretched. The elasticity of the Constitution are being stretched by this administration in unprecedented ways in our lifetime. But when you look at history, Rickey, and that's why we all have to be students of history, this isn't the first time these populist white supremacist presidents have tried to do things to really hurt the progress of minorities in America. So what we got to do is still not have a defeatist mentality, because like our fraternity taught us, like so many of our black colleges taught us, we have to be strategic. Like with all these consent decrees, Minneapolis is still a Democratic-controlled city, so we got to make sure they do it. If we can't count on the federal government, then we go to state government, then we go to city governments. There's always a way for us to continue to keep our eyes on the prize and move ahead. This Trump administration won't be able to keep black people down, just like Andrew Jackson, just like none of these conservative administrations did. And the one thing I will say, Rickey Smiley, to you, your whole nationwide audience, we got to remember as black people that we done been through too many thunderstorms in American history to be worried about a few raindrops. I represent Malcolm X's estate in the lawsuit against NYPD and the FBI. We have to remember what Malcolm taught us, what Marcus Garvey taught us. We have to start thinking globally and not just nationally. I mean, black people all over the world, we have to build up the diaspora and strengthen it, because they're attacking us all. So we will get through this constitutional crisis, and we will come out better for it, because our children will know that we in a war and we have to fight. I think some black people don't understand, Rickey, that we're in a war right now. They are attacking us, and we need to wake up.
Yep.
Go ahead, Kay.
Ben, I was saying, I don't think there is really any resolution to any of these legal matters until the Congress and the Senate changes, hopefully in 2026, because they just are not going to pay attention to anybody's concerns that don't align with their philosophy up until they're forced to do it.
Hey, I just want to ask, what are your thoughts on the Diddy trial from a legal standpoint, Ben?
Well, you know, as a lawyer, I still think it's an overreach because I'm not seeing the RICO or the sex trafficking. It seems like a horrible case of domestic violence. But to say it's sex trafficking and it's RICO charges, it creates a dangerous precedent because now black men especially, I mean, they can start just coming up with creative ways to put federal charges on us. And with this Department of Justice, all of us better be aware. If you've ever had a woman come and visit you across state lines, are we now going to start saying this is sex trafficking? We have to be very careful with that we set on these cases. And so I believe as a lawyer, just casually observing, because there are more important things in the world than the Diddy trial, that is, I think it's 50-50 at best. I think it's an overreach, and I think that it sets a terrible precedent.
Wow. That's wow. Even with all the testimony you heard thus far.
Hey, Ricky, it's a terrible precedent because, I mean, they can just start going back and everybody pass and start trying to say, oh, well, we think that we're going to call that sex trafficking. I mean, what about the people who sit in, you know, I don't even want to get into it, but when white men are accused of sex crimes and they convicted, they get to go occupy the White House, but black men end up in going in prison?
You better say
yeah, we got to look at this big picture here. We can't be getting caught up with the people trying to protect women and white adjacent looking people and just make black men be just nefarious and evil at every turn. Yeah, it's all about image. That's what the W.B. Du Bois understood, the NAACP Image Awards, because images stay in our subconscious mind a lot more than any words we will ever say. And so when you think about whether it's Diddy or any other black man, it's still this subjective messaging that's going out that black men are animals, that they're barbaric, that they're sexual deviants and all this kind of stuff. So, and I know I'm not defending anything what Diddy is doing. Girl, Dad, is sickening. But when we look at the bigger picture, let's don't set bad precedents where they can put black men in prison for the least things. And they're building these private prisons with this president for a reason. And they're not going to be putting their children in these private prisons for profit. They're going to be putting people that look like you and me, Ricky.
Yeah. Ben, we got to have you come on. Ben, please come on the show more. Please. Yeah. I know you ripping and running, and but the information, because one thing about this, the liberal media, they ain't gonna have a conversation with you about what we talking about right now, and you probably one of our only outlets, that you can come and share this information, because they're not talking about this on none of the on CNN and MSNBC. This is a real conversation. Ben, whenever you available, I'll let you come on anytime, bro. For real, because we really appreciate this information. Ben, let everybody know how you can be reached.
Hey, at attorney Ben Crump, BenCrump.com. Ricky, we celebrated Malcolm, what would have been his 100th birthday on Monday. Man, we're going to get justice for Malcolm, and we're going to keep fighting to get justice no matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
The enemies of equality won't win. And so, Ricky, you do what you do, I'm going to do what I do, and everybody know we got a role to play in this struggle for justice and equality for our people.
Yes, sir. Love you, dog. Ben Crump.